Hello, welcome to the Ren Rashad show, where we talk about nothing really important at all. And I tend to waste my time, and so in in processed wasting your time, at least I'm honest about it. Before we get to our presentation, aka a little bit more of Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, because I'm a sadistic piece of shit with no willpower to actually boycott Blizzard because this is their last chance. Um, yeah, before our gameplay, I actually wanted to talk about a something that's happening today. I guess in the news, in the know, if you're cool. So, Asmongold, come on, we all know the god, Mr. Asmongold himself. Asmon Dad, Asmon God, Asmon, Asmon, Ass Dick Man. He goes by many names. But what he is going by right now is a lot of hot water. He's like a hard boiled egg in a lot of steaming pile of shit. And I feel like he's just digging himself further into the shit. And look, I've been a long time viewer of this guy's channel. I'm an OG player of World of Warcraft vanilla just like he is. We're probably around the same age. He's probably a bit older, but what I'm trying to say is we grow up in the same kind of era. And I see a lot of myself in Asmon, but obviously I'm not white and I wasn't born in Texas. I was, however, born in Toronto as a first generation Canadian, right? My parents immigrated here from the Caribbean legally. That's like I'm all for immigration as long as it's done in due process. And that due process can also be corrupt because that process is governed by the people. But okay, let's stay focused here on the actual thing that's going on. Asmongold called a bunch of Palestinian and Arabs inferior races and going on this whole Nazi Kanye rhetoric. But now here's the thing. Hassan made a pretty good interview with him recently, but he's on one side and Asmongold is on the other side. And they're spouting all of these ideological, pseudo intellectual arguments back and forth. And it's not resonating with one party or the other. You could definitely see that they're both frustrated, and he's getting a lot of hate online. Rightfully so, and not rightfully so. Because in some way he's telling the truth. Asmon, I mean. And let me tell you why. My parents are from South America. They were born and raised in an island called Guyana. There's two islands. There's the British Guyana and French Guyana. And if you go back to the history of Guyana, it's a colony, a British state. The whole fucking world fought over it. It's also known as El Dorado. You probably heard of it, right? The island of gold, right? The New World is what they used to refer it as. But anyway, the Dutch and the British and the French and the Portuguese all kind of sailed along and fuck off with everybody's shit, right? And stole a bunch of people and went to the New World and enslaved a bunch of people, and you got yourself Guyana. Now, there was a lot of atrocious acts, right? How many people killed, you know? Only because of the invent of social media and cell phone cameras that we're actually knowing what's going on right now, that we can actually say something. But back then, there was none of that shit. Those people just got annihilated, and that was it. And the history books went on anew. So what I'm trying to say here is that there was a lot of atrocities with that, but now you have me, generations and generations and generations in the future of that atrocious incident, and you have someone that had the ability to speak English as my first language. It's a British island, so we had a lot of ties to Canada, hence probably why me and my entire family have moved here and lived here. We've lived under this democratic socialist system of the British and the Commonwealth, I guess, since our inception. And so we have some of these so-called culture evolutions that Asmongold thinks that Americans have in general, and they went like into like one really interesting kind of debate point, which was that Asmon feels as though Americans are quite unique in their Americanness because their Americanness gives born to, competition and ingenuity, and the culture gives rise to these things. And you know what? He's got a point there. I studied psychology for a while, 5 years, in school, and I'm also like I like to read history, and the Greek culture, the Roman culture, the Turkish culture, the Egyptian culture, every civilization, as beautiful as it was, as it goes up and as it comes down, has a culture, and that culture has to be fostered in order for that civilization to achieve new heights. So he is definitely onto some points, but his lack of education on the topic. I know he doesn't even talk about politics. He's a gamer, and all of these gamers are like, you're forgetting about Nipsey Hussle, my friends. Stay in your lane, right? And now you're kind of swerving around, right, trying to get into other people's lanes, and now you're kind of getting sideswiped. And even though there's a lot of truth to what you have to say, the way in which you said it and the way in which, like, I don't even think you believe in retrospect, looking back on how you phrase things is huge, right? So even though there are some truths to what you said, obviously there are some non-truths that Hasan brought up. Like, you can't really say that all Muslims are going to be that way. And let's just get to the bottom of the whole thing with Asmon using gay people as a talking point. Like, let's be real. I've been watching his streams for a very long time. I've been a fan of his channel for a really long time. A lot of respect for the guy. And trust me, it was a talking point. It wasn't anywhere where it's like a deep part of his soul. He believes that he really wants gay rights in the Middle East. No, it's a talking point that is used to reinforce a larger problem. The larger problem being that in most Muslim countries, it seems to be quite constrictive. It seems to be kind of, and I could really talk about this. Okay, my mom's a Muslim. My dad grew up as a Christian, and I'm like a little bit of a mix of everything. I think I love all religions in a way. They're all stories that you can gain value from. It's just how you gain value from them. Don't really make yourself fully committed to one thing before branching out your horizons and learning many things. Don't be afraid to do that. Your parents are going to try to teach you to, hey, stay focused on this one book. This is the one book that we've been taught, and this is the one book that we're going to give you. You take that book and you read it, but you go out your way and you read other books too, because that's the way to actually gain intelligence. That's the way. Like, there is no other way. There is no other hack. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. I'm sure it's just beginning, honestly. Like, it seems like it's going to be a rough road on how, he makes it through this. And you know what? I don't think he's wishing these people bad in terms of like casting genocide towards them. I just think he's quite sheltered in his beliefs because of his upbringing. He doesn't know what it's like, and I don't know what it's like. And 99% of the people online don't know what it's like to have homes in your neighborhood being bombed and airstrikes and being colonized. Like, even though it's happened in my in my DNA, in my history, it hasn't happened to me. So it's very hard for us to really gain the perspective, but it's so easy to just say, yeah, I don't give a fuck about them. I don't know them. I don't see them. I don't know their name. Like, it's so easy to do that, but if it's a really slippery slope if you choose to live that way. And with that, I'm just going to end that because we're heading into Diablo 4. So, yeah, thanks for that, being patient with me before we started there. Okay. Talk to you guys later.